The best destinations, exciting hotels, smart airlines, and the best value for money deals. All this in conversation with some of the finest experts from India and abroad. Join me, Ashwini Kakkar, on Livewire with Ash. Hello and welcome to Livewire with Ash. Today we take you on a fun-filled ride through Singapore with Mr. Randall Tan, Regional Director of Asia and Africa with the Singapore Tourism Board.
The Singapore I made is totally awesome. There's a gazillion things to do. I bounced around with the giraffes. And Sufi flew with the birds. Then we swam with dolphins. And saw Shrek's far, far away castle. And dinosaurs and roller coasters, all before bed.
In the Singapore I made, everything's designed around me. Fast cars, fashion. I can get it all in a flash. Not that flash. The food's amazing, 24 hours a day. And so's the party. This is my Singapore.
Welcome to the show, Randall.
Hello, Ashwini. It's great to have this chat with you.
You know, India has provided the highest number of tourists for Singapore, and it is rumored that India will soon be sending over 1 million tourists every year to this little tiny island nation. Not only that, I think Indians are amongst the highest spenders in Singapore, and one of the research projects says that they spend over 1,789 Sing dollars per person per trip. What makes Singapore so exciting for Indians?
First of all, Singapore for decades has been the number one outbound destination for Indians for the first trip overseas.
Right.
So what makes exciting for them is the attractions. It's the first sightseeing experience outside India. So we must give some attention to that because there will be more first-time travelers that travel outside India, and they will enjoy things like the Jurong Bird Park and Songs of the Sea from Sentosa, and also the zoo.
Of course.
But new travelers are emerging, and they're evolving, their interests.
Right.
And Singapore has evolved in that, and that's created a lot more excitement.
So, Randall, have you noticed any major trends amongst Indians who are now traveling to Singapore?
Well, the Indian traveler has evolved just like Singapore has evolved. And they no longer look at travel as something novel or interesting in itself. It's when they get there, the experiences that are in the destination.
Right.
So for Singapore, the deeper experiences are indeed what the Indian traveler looks for. And here they go for their passions,
right.
Whether it's culinary, whether it's arts, whether it's sports.
Right.
For example, the Singapore Grand Prix is a big hit with the Indian traveler.
Yeah, it's the only night Grand Prix in the whole world right now.
Correct. And the Indians love it for two reasons. First, they love the sport, but they also love the party. And the night race really gets a good combination with the entertainment that happens all around, live concerts that you attend. The adrenaline is fully rushed with both sports and entertainment.
Yes, some of the greatest artists in the world now performing in Singapore, isn't it?
Correct. We had Beyonce, we had Mariah Carey, and that's for the people with high adrenaline.
Right.
Some people love the arts. They love to contemplate great artworks. So they come to, for example, events like Art Stage.
Right.
Or Singapore Biennale.
Right.
And it's wonderful because they meet like-minded people from all around the world.
Yes, the Singapore Arts Museum is actually looking fantastic since the last 2 or 3 years, isn't it?
That's right. It's a place where people enjoy total arts, including good food. So the restaurant at the the museum, is also a big hit. So, and Indians love food, and they love good art, and there they are able to enjoy themselves.
So is Singapore focusing on the younger segments now, or on the silver grey segments, or how is the new evolution happening?
Well, Singapore caters to all the Indians that arrive.
Of course.
And it's a good spread, from young to old. So for the younger visitors to Singapore, edutainment has been interesting. For example, going behind the scenes at the zoo,
Okay.
or at the Jurong Bird Park,
Right.
to see eggs hatching.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's interesting to them. Also, they love more active activities as well. So what they do is, for example, they like to go to the iFly, where they have simulation of skydiving in the world's largest skydiving simulator.
So it's changing more towards experiential tourism, for example.
That's right.
Okay.
They're passionate about being active, and they love to tell their friends about it because they accomplish something new. To pick up a new skill, to say that I can now surf at the wave house, that is something they love to tell their friends. That's for the younger ones.
Fantastic. You know, Randall, one of the things that happens is that while there's huge amounts of connectivity from India now, Singapore Airlines, for example, flies out from 8 different destinations in India, and customers now have a choice of various airlines, including Kingfisher, Jet Connect, Jet, Silk Air, and others like Air Asia and Indigo. One of the things that remains in the minds of the traveler is that, the hotels and taxis and other attractions are quite expensive. What do you think about this? Is there any hope for the budget traveler?
Yes, certainly. For those who prefer a premium experience, these have been catered to them.
Right.
But for those that would love to just watch their wallets,
Sure.
there is a way of doing it.
Really?
Take the train, for example. We call them MRT, Mass
Right.
Rapid Transit. And it stops in Orchard, the harbourfront, which is just next to Sentosa. So you can easily get from place to place with train and a very low cost.
That's true. I think, it's rumored to be probably the best train system, the metro system in the whole of Asia, isn't
Yes.
it?
And in fact, it's not only for those watching their wallet, but also for those who want a good experience, because it's quite different.
Right.
There's a lot of artwork in there too, in the train stations.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, one of the things that people worry about is, if I go to Singapore, will I get trapped only in Singapore? Or can I go to neighboring countries like Indonesia or Malaysia? And how far are they? Can you really get there?
Yes. In fact, frequent travelers use Singapore as a base. In fact, as a Singaporean, I use Singapore as a base too.
Okay.
When I go back to Singapore, I also enjoy my neighboring countries like Malaysia and Indonesia. Bali is a very popular combination.
Of course.
I love to dive, so I like to go, for example, Sipadan. And then I go up all the way to Kota Kinabalu.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's fairly easy to get to all these places.
Very easy. The connection is amazing.
Fantastic. Time now for a very short break, but don't go anywhere, for we have lots of Singapore to see on the other side of this break.
सिंगापुर जू और यूरोंग बर्ड पार्क के बिहाइंड द सीन एक्सपीरियंसेस खासकर नन्हे सैलानियों के लिए मनोरंजक हैं। अगर आप एडवेंचर पसंद करते हैं तो सिंगापुर आई फ्लाई आपके लिए है। ये दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा स्काई डाइव सिम्युलेटर है। पैसों की बचत करने के लिए और एक मजेदार ट्रैवल एक्सपीरियंस के लिए सिंगापुर के एमआरटी रेल में जरूर सफर करें।
Welcome back to Livewire with Ash. After business, it must be pleasure. So let's find out a little more about Randall the person.
Mr. Randall Tan is the Singapore Tourism Board's Regional Director for Asia and Africa. Having spent over 20 years in the travel industry, Mr. Randall Tan has an impressive list of designations. So it is no surprise that he is an avid globetrotter and enjoys active holidays.
Randall, You've lived in so many different countries, the most prominent amongst them being Russia, USA, and India. Can you just share a few of these experiences with us?
Yes, I can. It's very enjoyable moments in my life. In US, the most memorable is the road trips, driving from east to west coast and north to south.
Right.
Going through from sea through mountains, and it's just lovely. Road trips and stopping and camping. The US offers great opportunities for that.
Fantastic.
And I enjoy it.
And some things about Russia or India, living in India for so long maybe?
Let's go for Russia. I left out something. Cookouts in the US is great. In Russia, you have a different style of cooking, which is when the family gets together for celebration, it's amazing.
Really?
The table has to be full of food, and all the men have to toast. And
Really?
every toast has to be a different toast. So you have to prepare yourself in Russian
Oh my God.
to make a different toast every time. And that's enjoyable. The fun and camaraderie in Russia was wonderful.
Fantastic.
In India, what I enjoy most is the warmth of the people. Wherever you travel, people will always talk to you. And that's wonderful because you learn so much, whether it's climbing up Vaishnu Devi, you learn why they're doing it, and it's interesting. Or whether it's trekking through Ladakh, they will also share with you their personal stories. Meeting people in India is fantastic.
You've obviously achieved quite a lot while you've been in these different places. So let me ask you a question about your personal favorite destinations in the whole world.
Well, I wouldn't put it down to a destination. It's more an experience.
Okay.
I love, as you can tell by now, active lifestyle. I love to go out there. So one of the best experiences I've had is when I start with a good dive,
Right.
whether it's in the Caribbean, and then moving slowly up to ancient ruins, Mayan ruins, and then finally ending up with a cultural city like Antigua, for example.
Right.
And when I can afford it, the 2-3 weeks trip like that is fantastic. Yes, and in Southeast Asia, we can do the same as well. Going from, for example, from Sipadan, as I mentioned, then climbing up to Kota Kinabalu and ending up in Singapore for a cultural experience. It's fantastic.
What is Singapore really like? And what do you, the traveler, want to know about this destination? Let's find out in Aapka Sawal.
Hi, I'm Palaksha from Mumbai, and I'm a person who loves traveling. This year I'm planning a small vacation with my husband to Singapore. I've heard a lot about Sentosa Island. Can you tell me more about it? Is it similar to Disneyland?
Sentosa is a group of many attractions and experiences. In fact, it's adventure, it's romance, it's also educational if you want to make it. What's interesting is that for active people, they can learn how to surf at Wave House. For people who want to just watch an entertaining show, there's the Songs of the Sea. And for romance, there's of course all our wonderful resorts for a spa treatment and great cuisine by the beach.
Fantastic. Well, looking at it from an Indian traveler's point of view, what would you say would be Singapore's best kept secret?
Well, the secret is slowly becoming less of a secret.
Okay.
Indians are discovering Singapore is a place to enrich themselves, pick up a new skill. Even in romance, for example, Indians love to do things together. So while looking into each other's eyes is fantastic, they love to, for example, share a good cuisine or learn to cook together,
Right.
or even take wonderful portraits together. So photography is fantastic, for example,
Right.
for couples to do.
Yeah.
So, well, we've been getting interest in photographic courses, art appreciation together, even culinary classes.
Well, even a small, beautiful boat ride in Clarke Quay or Boat Quay in that whole area is quite magical, I think, isn't it?
That adds on the magical touch. That's right.
Yes. Time now for another short break, but stay right there because we are still exploring Singapore.
सेंटोसा आइलैंड में देखने और अनुभव करने के लिए बहुत कुछ है। यहाँ आप अनोखे स्पास और रिजॉर्ट्स में आराम कर सकते हैं, समुद्र में सर्फिंग सीख सकते हैं और डॉल्फिन्स को नाचते हुए भी देख सकते हैं। सिंगापुर में एक अनूठी हॉलिडे के लिए अपने दोस्त या संगी के साथ पकवान, हस्तकला या फोटोग्राफी सीखें।
Welcome back to Livewire with Ash, where we are exploring sunny Singapore. Randall, you know, there's so much diverse food available in Singapore, you know, from roti, prata to Joël Rebouchon. So, you know, what comes to mind? What can an Indian traveler expect as he goes into Singapore?
Well, let's start off with vegetarians first.
Okay.
Yes. I would recommend, for example, noodle dishes like mee siam.
Right.
Okay. And for lunch, possibly like gado-gado. But for Italian cuisine, for example, there's fine dining like Michelangelo.
Of course.
Yes. And for non-veg, you could enjoy some of the signature restaurants at either Marina Bay Sands or Resorts World, or even some of the award-winning ones like Iggy's.
Yes, and also Santi Santa Maria's restaurant and a whole slew of other coup d'etat and lots of other wonderful eating places now available in Singapore. But apart from food, there's also great nightlife, there are great attractions. You know, can you just enlighten our viewers on some of these?
I think one of the Indian favorites is St. James Powerhouse, because when you enter the entire complex, you can choose from a variety of nightlife entertainment, whether it's for dancing, it's for clubbing. One complex,
okay.
Many experiences, and some even enjoy some karaoke. But whether it's dancing or great DJ, it's all there.
Yeah. See, when I was on my first few trips to Singapore, I used to enjoy going to the botanical gardens, to the zoo, and to Sentosa, and a few of these kind of places. But I believe it's so completely changed now that there's casinos, and there's Formula One, and there's all kinds of different options available. So what does an Indian traveler look forward to when he arrives in Singapore?
Always something new. And I'm going to talk about two new ones.
Okay.
For example, the Gardens by the Bay, where there are about 15-meter tall super trees. And on
Really?
these super trees, there will be places to eat, places to have conferences.
On top of these trees?
Yes, there are structures that look like trees.
Okay.
I think you will best describe it as like you see in Avatar.
Okay, unbelievable. And the other one?
The river safari. It's another feature of the zoo. People loved the night safari when it came on, and now they love the river safari, where you see great rivers of the world and all the animals and birds.
Right. Now, as you know, Randall, Indians are so fond of shopping. And in earlier times, Indians just used to rush to Little India or Arab Street or Bras Bazaar and these little places, till Orchard Street started to open its doors and all these huge malls came up. But I believe now the shopping experience has changed completely. What is going on?
Taste. I think we all have very personal taste and we want choice. And that's what our retailers have done. They brought in the best from the world and also created some of their own labels. Right. That Indians just love. I think Indians want to be able to choose and have their own personal style. And that's what they like. So they fan out, whether it's street chic or whether it's something from runway chic.
Right. So obviously there's a lot going on in Singapore, and it's all kind of molting and it's evolving into a brand new Singapore. That's what it looks like.
Yes. And the remaking continues. We enjoy renewing. We enjoy giving our visitors new experiences.
Right. So if you were to advise Indians about some travel tips, what would you say are the best things that would help them on a trip to Singapore?
I would say the first thing to do is go to our website and build your itinerary. There are many things to choose from. Build it together, send it to your travel agent, if you're using a travel agent, and then get them to help you book in advance. Right. Because there are many popular items that it's better done with some reservation.
So, Randall, you were saying to me at the beginning of the show that you brought with you a little piece of Singapore.
Yes.
What is that little piece of Singapore?
It's a very special book, and I really enjoy it. And people who enjoy good food and good music would enjoy it too. It's a symphony of taste.
Okay.
And it was a special anniversary issue for Singapore Symphony Orchestra.
Okay.
And what happened is that some chefs paired up with musicians, the Singapore Symphony Orchestra, and it's music to cook with. It's intriguing for art and food lovers.
शाकाहारियों को सिंगापुर में मी सायम नूडल्स और कलहत की करी कुदेग आजमाना चाहिए। मरीना बे सैंड्स के रेस्टोरेंट्स खासकर मांसाहारियों के लिए है। सेंट जेम्स पावर स्टेशन पार्टीज के लिए मशहूर है। यहां एक ही कॉम्प्लेक्स में 9 नाइट क्लब्स हैं। अपना सिंगापुर हॉलिडे पहले से ही प्लान करें। कम दाम के टिकट्स के लिए भी एडवांस बुकिंग करें।
Now for our viewers, for a chance to win an exciting, scrumptious Singaporean dinner for 2 at a 5-star hotel, all you have to do is answer this simple question. What are the languages of Singapore?
This week's contest prize is an exquisite fine dining experience for 2 at the renowned ITC Maratha, including an opportunity to taste the Singapore-inspired cuisine Laksa Pulao. To answer, log on to our website www.exploretelevision.com or email lwacontest@exploretelevision.com with your answer, name, address and contact number.
Randall, thank you very much for being on our Explore show today. And I'm sure our viewers have had a wonderful time and they've learned so much about what's happening in exciting Singapore.
It's been a pleasure, Ashwini, to share. And thank you for the opportunity.
A traveler without observation is like a bird without wings. Until we meet again on Livewire with Ash, this is Ashwini Kakkar signing off. Travel smart and keep exploring.